And the guy saw that, and he handed the boy an orange. He said, "Here's an orange, just take that." The little boy started to walk away. And the mom said, "Billy, come back here. What's wrong with you? What do you say to the nice guy?" Billy looked at the orange and handed it back to the man and said, "Peel it." So that's the kind of world we grow up in, right? Now you guys are all like, "I would never do that. Oh my God, smack that kid one time," right? But that's the kind of just little ways that it sneaks in. Little ways that we look down on other people. Little ways that we compare ourselves to other people and say, "We're better than you." Maybe we don't say it out loud, but we think it. Gratitude. You know what happens when we stop thanking God and we stop glorifying God? Romans 1:21 says it this way: although they knew God, they neither glorified Him as God or gave thanks to Him, but their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. This is what happens. Slowly but surely, our hearts become darkened. Our minds start to run away from the things of God and begin to think about the things that we want. And we become very self-centered and very self-focused and very prideful. And that's a danger. I love what Aldous Huxley said. He said, most human beings have an almost infinite capacity for taking things for granted. And we do, don't we? We just take things for granted. I saw a documentary this week. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I saw clips of it. It's called Walking on Water. Those of you who are surfer-type dudes in here, gnarly, you'll know, you probably have seen this, but it's a documentary about some surfers who came to know Christ, and then they take these young boys, the young surfer dudes, on trips around the world to various different places, and they surf, and then they teach them basic Christian principles. And this is just a great scene. They take a couple of boys, Luke and Tyler, to Peru, and they help them to see what it's like living in Peru and how grateful that they can be. Let's watch this clip real quick.
When John travels to northern Peru, he brings clothes and resources to a less fortunate community. I thought this would be a good opportunity for Luke and Tyler to learn that it is better to give than to receive.
We went to this local church, and a whole bunch of the kids from the town were there. Everybody's so nice. They just welcome you, and we sang songs and had a great time.
None of the stuff we have.
Seems like they don't have that much, but they just make the most of what they have. We get like really nice clothes and stuff all the time. Maybe somebody's bummed that they didn't get some like t-shirt they wanted or something. They don't really have a choice. They just pretty much get clothes wherever they can find them. And the fact that we brought a whole bunch of shirts and stuff that they needed, they were really happy. Opposite side of the globe, but really we have the same heart, and God loves us all the same.
I can learn a lot from them, and I think we underestimate young people, I think we underestimate kids. I think there's so much to be learned through their eyes, and the reminder that if you look at life through fresh eyes, that there's a purity to be found there, and there's a purpose to be found there.
God taught me just to be more thankful for everything I have and not to take anything for granted.
Be more thankful and not to take anything for granted. I mean, it's a great lesson to learn for all of us today. That's what this woman understood. She could take nothing for granted. To be thankful for what Jesus had done for her. Same with this young man. To be thankful for what Jesus had done for her. I like what Benjamin Disraeli said. Benjamin Disraeli is a former Prime Minister of England. He said, I feel a very unusual sensation. If it's not indigestion, I think it must be gratitude. So, I think what he's saying is, I'm not really sure what gratitude feels like, And sometimes I think we feel the same way. I'm not really sure. What does it feel like? But there is a gratitude that it wants to come out of us. I went down and I just bought like a little composition book. It's like 50 cents or something like that at Office Depot. And I jot down things that I'm grateful for. I call it a gratitude journal. Maybe you want to start one of these. Just have a piece of paper or something, and throughout your day, maybe you just want to write down things that you're grateful for. It is said that people who keep a gratitude journal or are daily thankful for things have fewer physical symptoms. They feel better about their lives as a whole, and they're more optimistic about the coming days and weeks ahead. So maybe you can write things down. I write silly stuff down. I'm grateful for coffee. I'm grateful for indoor plumbing. I'm grateful for cable TV. I'm grateful for the internet, for public education, for my wife Sandra, for my daughter Courtney, for my son Quentin. I'm grateful for getting to serve the Lord as a pastor. I'm grateful for not having to wonder where my next meal is going to come from. I'm grateful for clean water. I'm grateful for clothes and books, a comfortable bed, my Bible, my friends, And then another thing that you can do too, you can get some of these. These are pretty simple to find. You can get these in packages. They're called thank you cards. Seriously, just take some, and every once in a while, if somebody does something nice for you, write them a little thank you card. Drop it in the mail. You know how much of this means to people? You never know when you go to say thank you to somebody, or you're just grateful for something that somebody's done, how much that's going to mean to them. Maybe they're at a place where they're just ready to quit, ready to give up, and you send them a thank you card, and you just stop them and say, you know what, I just want to tell you how grateful I am for you. Thank you for being my kid's teacher. Thank you for being their coach. Thank you for, whatever the case may be. Just being grateful. Thankful. Okay? Attitude of gratitude. Secondly, I think what we can learn from this woman is that we all have something to offer. We all have something to offer. She had this little alabaster box that she brought with her. It was full of perfume. This was all she had, probably. We don't know much about her, but we don't think she had much. But this perfume was everything for her. She put the perfume on to go attract guys, right? So this is all she had for her livelihood. But she takes it and pours it all out. You have something to offer. Every one of us does. And you might be sitting there thinking today, God, Sean, I don't have anything. I really don't have anything to offer. You do have something to offer. That little acronym I put up on the screen there for you is called SHAPE. And it's just a way of trying to figure out who you are. If you just take a few minutes of time and figure out your shape, you're going to find out, wow, I have some amazing things to give. The S in SHAPE stands for your spiritual gifts. What are your spiritual gifts? What is it that you've been given by God? Because every one of you has been given something. And the spiritual gifts are found in the Bible, in Romans chapter 12, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, and Ephesians chapter 4. If you want to hunt them down, it tells you right there what the spiritual gifts are. Some are teaching, some are leadership, some are mercy. Maybe you have a heart for caring for people. Maybe you're a helper, you just like to help behind the scenes. Maybe you have a servant's heart. Maybe you have a gift of working with your hands. And there's all sorts of gifts that God gives to us, and they're listed in the Scripture. And you can do an online test. If you just go and Google spiritual gifts inventory, you can take them online and it'll print out results for you to let you know what your spiritual gifts are. And you'll be like, oh wow, those are my spiritual gifts. My spiritual gifts are teaching, pastoring, and leadership. Okay, so those are the three things that always come up when I do a spiritual gifts inventory. So somehow I've got to figure out, how do I use teaching, pastoring, and leadership? And so I lead a service and I pastor and teach, so it's a good thing. Okay, it works out for me. Number two is your heart. What's in your heart? What do you love to do? What do you love to do? If it boiled down to just tell me the two things that you just love to do. Maybe you don't get to do them all the time, but you love them. Figure out what it is that you love to do, because that's part of who God's created you to be, right? Don't let those things that you love to do take a back seat to the things that you have to do. We got to find ways to do the things we love to do. That's what's in our heart. A is abilities. What are your abilities? What do you do well? When you do it, people just go, wow, you're good at that. I mean, that's something you really do well, right? I mean, figure out what your abilities are. Don't think less of yourself. Don't do that whole, oh gosh, I'm not really that good. When 100 people are around you telling you that you're really great at it, right? Listen to what people say. And what we ought to be doing too is finding people who are really good at stuff and telling them they're really good at it. Right? Make a point. That's the gratitude thing. Hey, check it out. You know what? You are really, really a good singer, right? You are really, really good. If somebody stands behind you every week in this service and they sing real loud when the band's playing and they sound real good, turn around and tell them. Say, hey, you know what? You sing really good. I'm not flirting with you or nothing. I'm just trying to tell you, you sing really good, okay? Now just let them know. And then just say, go tell Adam, and I'll tell him if you want me to, that you sing real good. Because he'd love to talk to you about singing, right? So find out what you're good at and do it. And you know what's going to happen? Most of the time, all this is going to work together. You're going to find your spiritual gifts, your heart, your abilities, your personality, and your experiences all work together, and you go, wow, that's really who I am. Your personality is next. You ever taken a personality test? Anyone, Myers-Briggs people? Anyone taking Myers-Briggs? I am an INSP. Does that, FP, does that mean anything to you? INFP? Yeah, that's me. There's only 1 to 5% of all people in the entire world like me. And so that makes a lot of sense to me, okay? I am like one of the smallest percentage of people, INFP. Many of you probably wouldn't even guess that I was. I stands for introverted. I'm an introvert by nature. You're like, you're kidding, really? You're an introvert? But I am. I'm not extroverted. I'm very, very uncomfortable right now. I don't like this a bit. Actually, this part I can do, but it's the afterwards part where there's like 4 or 5 of us together, and you guys know this because you come and talk to me like, dude, you're so weird when you're like just one-on-one. But that's because I'm introverted. I get my strength from being alone. I get my strength from being by myself and reading and studying and writing and doing those things. Those of you who are extroverted, you get your strength from being around groups of people. You know who you are. You're either introverted or extroverted. You get your strength. Certainly, it's not that I prefer this or prefer that. It's where do you get your strength? The N means intuitive. That's the way I think about life. That's the way I perceive things, intuitively. I'm not concrete. I don't see things very concretely. Sandra sees things concretely. She sees things, as it pertains to your senses. Can you see it, taste it, touch it, smell it? Then it's real. Me, I'm more, I'm very, very abstract. I kind of see and perceive things in strange ways. And the F is the feeling part of me. I'm gonna trust my feelings over my over logic because I don't trust my logic. So I'm just gonna feel it. And so that makes up who I am. Take one of those tests. I'm telling you, it gives you some amazing insight.